Welcome back to my road to completion guide for Uncharted Drake's Fortune Remastered. This is episode 22, and we're picking up exactly where we left off in episode 21. We have a combat area coming up that I want you guys to skip. Notice what I do here. I'm gonna get behind this rock wall, then I'm gonna push behind the crate, and then I'm gonna push to the piece of cover just past the steps. Once we reach the next piece of cover, we're gonna move up the steps. Now the game wants you to go to the left to advance the story, but I want you guys to go to the right. See how I broke to the right there, and then hide behind this piece of cover and wait for maybe, I don't know, 5 to 15 seconds. Sometimes an enemy will push you in this hallway. Sometimes multiple enemies will push you. So be ready to blind fire kill. You guys can also do the shoulder swap trick. You know, get the camera angle on your right shoulder. The main thing is you just want to make sure it's either a clear path because the AI gives it to you, or you want to kill all the enemies to make it a clear path and then roll through to avoid the laser. And then you guys can skip that first area completely. Now at this point, we need to backtrack into the previous combat area and pick up 3 treasures. And look guys, no enemies. Once we skip this area, get through the cutscene, and we trigger the next combat area, all these enemies will disappear, okay? So we gotta pick up 3 treasures. After you guys pick up all 3 of these treasures, you're gonna get another trophy called Professional Fortune Hunter. So the trick to getting through this next combat sequence is to maintain the high ground. You can go ahead and fall off this platform. Now there's also a ladder over there that you guys can take to get to the lower levels, but that's going to give all the enemies up top advantage play. So what we want to do is kill these enemies from right to left, and we want to focus on the upper platform first, and it's very important that you guys do that. Once we make it over to the left hand side of the map, you guys will get more angles on the last few enemies, but you have to clear these enemies out in the same order that I'm showing you to get there safely, okay? So notice as I kill the enemies that are on the right side of the map, I ease out of this piece of cover that I'm in now, take that enemy out. You have to kill that enemy, guys, to the left before you can advance. And then just stay here for a few more seconds. Sometimes you'll get some sweet angles on these guys on the bottom level, okay? But you will not be able to kill them all from this position. So when you guys feel that it's safe, transition to the left-hand side of the map, and now you can get more angles on these enemies that are left. Alright guys, at this stage of the game, we need to solve a statue puzzle in order to open up a secret passage. Now I'm going to tell you guys a really easy way to remember this, and it'll come in handy for those of you who plan on working on your extended trophy collection, because you're going to have to speed run this entire game, and having all these puzzles memorized is going to allow you guys to make really good time when it comes to that speed run. Now the easiest way to remember this puzzle solution is to make sure that you have two statues facing the secret passage. Then you want to have two statues facing away. It's just that simple. Now I'm pointing to the secret passage now. Notice how the first statue is facing it. This is going to be the second statue. It's also facing it, okay? And then all you guys have to do is make the other two statues face away.
Bingo.
After you guys solve the puzzle, I want you to run over here to this wall and make sure you pick up the 2 grenades, okay? They're laying by an M4. We don't need the M4, just the grenades. And you should have 4 grenades at this point. If you don't, go back up. There's a ladder to your left. Go back up to the upper platform and check for grenades. You should be able to leave this area with 4 grenades, and then make sure you have as much shotgun ammo as possible. You guys also want to leave this area with the 92 FS, and the reason why this is so important is because we're going to be farming for that trophy once we reach episode 23. It's called 50 kills with the 92 FS. If you guys can't find that gun for whatever reason in the previous combat encounter, we have 2 more combat encounters before we reach episode 23, so you guys have plenty of time to pick that gun up along the way. You can see here that we're just turning these 2 switches so we can open up another secret passage. And then we have another treasure I want you guys to pick up. It's called the Golden Inca Vessel. It's going to be treasure 42 of 61.
Okay, Land of the Dead. Here we go.
Now before we can pick up treasure 43, which is called the Golden Skull, we have a little bit of platforming that we need to do. Once we wrap up the platforming sequence, you guys are going to see a waterfall, and that's where you're going to be able to find treasure 43.
Whoa.
Now at this point we need to advance the storyline by running up the steps, but notice what happens when I reach the top of the steps. I spawn in 4 new enemies, okay? You have to be careful of that. There's some crates up there in like a column, and your instinct is going to be to take cover behind those 2 obstacles, right, to get yourself some protection, but those 2 pieces of cover will actually get you guys killed. This is the safest play. Come back down the stairs, use the railing as cover, you see that, and then it's very hard for the enemies to hit you unless they go to the left of the waterfall, kind of behind me. Sometimes they'll have an angle on you there, which is why you can see me rotating my camera slightly to the left periodically to make sure nobody's sneaking up behind me. And I'm just waiting to get headshots, or I'm waiting for them to walk down the steps and try to attack me on this lower platform. When they do, I just whip out the shotgun guys and shoot them. It's very simple. There's only 4 enemies here. Be patient, and you guys will have no problem getting through this combat sequence.
Over here. Hey.
After killing these 4 enemies, I want you guys to run around and grab some ammo. Remember, if you do not have the 92 FS at this point, make sure you pick it up. I also want you guys to grab the M4 from the crate. See that? We don't need the shotgun anymore. Once we reach the next combat sequence, all the kills we get on those enemies are going to be at long range. So we want to make sure that we have the 92 FS and the M4 before we leave this area. Alright guys, once we reach the top of the steps, we need to turn around and grab another treasure. It's called the Silver Snuff Box. It's going to be treasure 44 of 61. And I also want you guys to notice the camera angle here. We cannot move the camera at all. It's fixed in this position, okay? So after you guys pick up the treasure, I want you to go ahead and save your game, because we need to be able to manipulate this camera, because there's a piece of cover I want you guys to get in, and it gives you total advantage play for this next combat wave. And I think I show you even more, because I was going to load my game here. Yeah, I go over here and show you this is the piece of cover that we want to get into, but notice I can't use the shoulder swap trick because the camera is fixed. See how I'm trying to do it, but it's making me aim at the wall. But notice what happens here when I load my game, okay? Now I'm going to be able to manipulate the camera. See this? Now I can get behind this piece of cover and I can totally control how this enemy wave plays out. So there are two combat waves in this sequence. The first wave we're going to take out from this piece of cover, and the second wave we're going to have to spawn them in by running deeper into the map. Now once that second enemy wave spawns in, we're going to run back to this area, but we're not going to use this piece of cover, okay? We're going to post up behind the bench that's directly in front of us and use our grenades. Remember, we picked those up from the previous encounters. We're going to use those grenades to kill those enemies, or you guys can get blind fire kills, whichever way works, but I would encourage you guys to use your grenades first. Then we have a bell puzzle that we need to solve, which is really simple, and then we'll be in episode 23. Enjoy the rest of this gameplay, guys, and I'll see you in episode 23. Be good.
Okay. Wait, there's something about this. All right. We got all the clues right here. We can do this, kid. How the hell does he think he's gonna get that statue out of here anyway?